Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Taking Healthy Back with Maria. And my guest today is a good friend of mine, Joshua Linney, who is a cannabis educator at ReleafMD, which you tell everyone what that is.
So ReleafMD is an office that does medical cannabis certifications in Brandon, Florida. In Florida, if you're not familiar, we have a program that allows us to access cannabis medically as long as you have gone to a doctor and been certified to qualify for one of the conditions, with one of the conditions, and then we give a recommendation that the patient be allowed to access and purchase medical marijuana through the dispensary, and the state issues them an ID card where they can go and purchase the information, the products, and then what my job is to go over with the patients how cannabis works specifically with their body, which types of products work which ways, so that they can use the right products in the right doses to achieve the relief they need.
So you can tell he's an educator. First of all, Joshua, thank you so much for agreeing to this interview.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cannabis is just another method of healing.
It's just another tool in the
The
box.
whole purpose of Taking Healthy Back is for me to introduce you to all different kinds of modalities. You may agree or not agree with any one of them, but I think it warrants putting it out there like a buffet that you can choose what suits you best. Now, Josh, you have a history of healing, and I'd love for you to briefly go over that and why you're dedicated to sustained wellness and taking healthy back.
Well, first of all, Maria, thanks we go back a long way now, about 5 years now, I think, close to.
Yeah, at least.
And it's been a long journey for me. My introduction into cannabis, again, the second half of my life, was medically because I was suffering from addiction to opiates and benzos. I had 3 years of military service after high school that left me service connected as a disabled veteran. I won't get into everything that is wrong with me or what happened, but needless to say, I was using cannabis previously in college directly after my service illegally, but finding a lot of relief from it. Taking 21 hours in college on the dean's list, able to sleep, work 2 jobs. But the VA forced me off of cannabis, telling me I couldn't use drugs or they would take away my benefits. Or I had to take the prescriptions that I was given if I was really sick. And so what I wound up doing was believing them, giving up cannabis, relying on pharmaceuticals, which cost me 20 years of my life about, addicted to opiates, benzos, being pumped full of mood stabilizers, antipsychotics, antidepressants, everything that you could possibly think of. The VA will pump you full of a box of pills. They'll keep it on time every month, and they will basically kill you if you let them. So back 2017, I was trying to quit. I wound up having a seizure due to withdrawal from both opiates and benzos. After about 2 weeks, I wound up in the hospital. I was IV'd for 3 days to stabilize me, but that left me fully re-addicted on discharge. So then on the way home, I went to a gas station and I didn't want to take the Xanax they had given me. They hadn't given me any opiates. But I found CBD gummies, and I didn't know at the time what they were, but I did purchase a pack of them and then eat them on the way home. Well, I didn't make it home. I got about 5-6 miles down the road, about 15 minutes after filling up my car with gas, and they kicked in. And for nobody who's had a really good solid dose of a quality CBD product, it was literally better than any benzo I'd ever taken. And so I turned my car around and I went back to the store and I bought $100 worth of gummies. And over the next 6 weeks, I was gradually able to break a 19-year addiction to the benzo Xanax, 4 milligrams a day with CBD, before ever starting back into medical cannabis. But that was where my journey started, getting back off of pharmaceuticals, getting back into plant medicine. And then a couple months later, I was able to get on medical cannabis. I was able to break an addiction to opiates in 90 days. That was 3 months. So in 6 months,
That's
I had
pretty amazing, 90 days, right?
Yeah, it was. I had been trying for a while to really do it. It just hadn't manifested itself. But in a total of about 6 months, I was able to eliminate both the benzos and the opiates, which then caused me to just give up everything else blanketly, just refuse all the other meds. And my body started to create some equilibrium for itself, and homeostasis found a way to get my blood pressure and my cholesterol and everything back into whack. And I still was on Ritalin for a little while, and then I got off that. So then I was using cannabis for my ADHD. And so now I pretty much use either plant medicine or some psychedelics to manage most compartments of my life, and I do so very successfully.
And I did not know that story about the CBD.
Yeah, it was actually my introduction to cannabis, using it medicinally in a way that I was dosing and making plans and having a schedule. And until then, I had usually just been taking substances to change the way I feel, or to give myself a new thought, or to numb an emotion, rather than trying to find myself a point of balance. It was an escape more than a check-in. I was checking out a lot. Now with cannabis, I was using it to check back in, and was able to actually function in life again.
Okay, and you also lost 60 pounds, so I mean...
Yeah, so pharmaceuticals put a lot of weight on us. They deprive us of a lot of things like libido and metabolism. And so shortly after then, I was really heavy. I lost some weight. I gained some weight back. This last year, I got married, which caused me again to want to lose weight. I was up to 240 pounds. Now I'm down to like 175, 180 on a weekly basis. And I did that through cutting out sugar and giving up gluten, reducing my calories, increasing my exercise. And I also partook in an injection through the doctor's office we have here in our other half of the clinic, which is New Life Wellness, Functional Wellness Clinic. We do hormone replacement, we do functional wellness, we do IV nutrition, we do weight loss. It is worth giving the office a call to see how we can help you fine-tune yourself. But I did the injections of semaglutide. They're recommended once a week. I probably didn't get them but every 3 weeks or so, but over 6 months I was consistently losing 10 pounds a month and was able to shed off 60 pounds.
Yeah, so I've actually seen your last 5-6 year transformation, and he looks like a kid. Yeah, it's amazing what losing weight and starting exercising and eating healthier will do for you. Yeah, and being happy, being married, regulating and whatnot. So my first real question for Taking Healthy Back is, do you equate wellness with success? Can you have one without the other?
I think you can have one without the other. I don't think you can totally achieve complete success unless you're healthy, because unless the vessel you're using on a daily basis to conduct all of your activities, all your interactions with people, all your exchanges of energy, for execution of ideas and for executive function, if you're not doing that, then how could you possibly achieve your optimal success if you're not at your optimal health? If you're not taking care of your body, you're probably going to use about the same quality of care with the rest of the things around you that you do with yourself, because you are the most important thing you have. You only get one body. And if you're not taking your care of yourself with 100% dedication, then probably I'm going to assume that you take care of everything else with the same amount of disregard, which means how could you possibly succeed at the optimal?
That's a good point. And I can attest to your development, because the better you got, the better I saw you doing professionally. And you have this amazing position to educate the community on all these different wellness benefits of a totally different modality.
Yeah. Well, it's really nice to be able to come in and use everything I went through for 20 years. First using cannabis successfully, being pushed off of it, being forced under pharmaceuticals, finding it again, being able to free myself from pharmaceutical dependence. So now when we have a lot of patients that come in here, many of them have a similar story to me. Either they're on medications or they're suffering with chronic illness. And they know that cannabis works for them, but they don't know why. And so to be able to break down the constituents of cannabis into cannabinoids and terpenes and flavonoids, and to be able to explain to them why they need either THC or CBD over one over the other for either this receptor group or that receptor group to treat anxiety different from pain. A lot of them think you just smoke weed and get high. And the truth is that you use cannabis, either the THC or CBD, at the right time to either relieve the physical symptoms that you're dealing with or cope with the symptoms you have left. And so it's important to know how much THC you should use when, and how much CBD you should get when, whether you should use it before or after THC, which terpenes should be looked for to make sure you're having the best experience that you desire, because terpenes control how you feel when you use cannabis. THC controls how intensely you feel it, but a super intense experience isn't always positive. We've all gotten that 27% THC strain that left us feeling like we just did something wrong and we didn't want to repeat that again. And we thought because it had high THC, we were going to love it, but THC is only one component. How you feel, whether sedated or stimulated by either one set of terpenes or the other, is critical to being able to plan and have an expected experience without having those undesired effects. So I do love being able to share what I've learned and what I've experienced through the years to be able to help patients. It makes it very rewarding to have patients come back and be like, you told me this 7 months ago and I tried it and everything's gotten so much better, because it really makes it for me seem like what I'm doing is worthwhile.
And every time I get together with you, I learn something. So I just learned a couple more things. And that's kind of the cool thing about cannabis today, is that they can prescribe it in...
We can't prescribe it because it's not an FDA prescription. We can make more accurate recommendation.
Thank you for
We have to
correcting
be careful
me.
about using the word prescribed with cannabis.
My apologies.
No. It's okay.
And I think I knew that in the back of my head. It's just,
Yeah, I got you.
what we're used to. But they can make it unique to your needs.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing with pharmaceuticals. You can't do that.
No.
It's one size fits all.
Well, and it's one intention, right? So like you have one intended effect from a pharmaceutical. An anti-inflammatory pushes down inflammation, but not always in a natural way, right? Whereas cannabis is an adaptogen. So if your body is off one way, it can bring it up. If it's off another way, it can bring it down. There's not a lot of things in there that are bidirectional in the way they work, and that they can create balance in any state, right? So whereas pharmaceuticals are one size fits all, cannabis can be tailored to fit specifically your needs, just depending on what strain you need and which terpenes you need. And that's where the education comes in.
And that's the beauty of nature also. So my second question is, what are your 3 to 5, you could have more or less, non-negotiables to sustain your wellness?
So that's a good question. I wish you'd asked me last night so I could have thought about it a little more.
Oh,
but
sorry.
that's okay.
It's got to come from your heart.
No, it's okay. So for wellness in general, I think you have to have intentional goals.
Sustained wellness.
Wellness. I think you have to have intentional goals. I think you have to know where you want to be for you to either get there or stay there. And I think if you lose sight of those goals, you'll find that you lose sight of your wellness, and then we get back to a place where we suddenly have to change our lifestyle again, right? That you also have to have a dedication to wanting it. So if you don't put in the work and you're not willing to do it, you can talk about it, you can say you'd like to, but if you're not really dedicated to making the changes and you're not going to be the changes you're talking about, then you're never going to have the success and you're never going to achieve the wellness. The other thing is, I think you have to be realistic, right? Do I skip sugar altogether? No. Do I never have ice cream? No. Do I never eat fast food? No. But is it maybe 1 or 5% of my diet now, where it used to be 50 or 60% of my diet? Absolutely. If I see over 10 grams of added sugar in something, I'm probably not going to buy it or consume it. If I see that something is, glutinous and fatty and has no nutritional value, unless it's a cheat day Sunday or a wedding, I'm probably going to skip it for something a little better. Because my mom likes to say, well, we can go have this one time today, it's only one meal. But that's kind of how it starts, right? It starts with you just thinking, oh, it's only today, or it's only for breakfast, or it's only for lunch. And then suddenly you're eating breakfast and lunch in fast food drive-thrus, and you're maybe getting one meal a day, and that's a fast, pre-prepared packaged food with tons of preservatives that you're getting out of the shelf, and you're just mixing it up and eating it. And so I really try to kind of take that back to controlling what I put in my body, eating more raw ingredients so that I can know what's going in and not getting stuff I don't. But I think you have to be really willing to go that extra step and have the dedication to make those things happen, or you're going to fall back into the same patterns. And as humans, we're really bad at being stuck in patterns and being stuck in loops and things that keep us safe and alive. We just keep doing, whether they're healthy or not.
That is a great point. And it's an obvious question, but what are you doing actively to take healthy back and to build a culture of wellness?
So I'm definitely getting in more exercise. I highly recommend people try to get more physical. I didn't for a lot of years and it suffered. And then suddenly when I started working out again, a couple 10 hours a week, I do a lot of pickleball. I'm there pretty much every night I can be, or every day I'm not working. It really helped me regulate naturally my blood pressure, my anxiety, my depression, my cholesterol. These were some things that just naturally balanced themselves back out when I started being more physical, being more active, and giving my body the chance to produce its own chemicals, right? I'm sticking to having a solid diet plan and lifestyle that I enjoy, so I don't have to feel like I'm going on and off diets all the time, right? I'm using cannabis to heal my body and to help cope with the things that I have on a daily basis. I totally advocate in people using psychedelics, especially microdosed, in a way that helps them heal and increase the neuroplasticity in their mind so that their brain can continue to grow and make changes that suit them better, that are healthier, that coping mechanisms that better serve us, right? And so I think that, along with having a spiritual connection to yourself more than anything else, your divine self, the place where your soul resides, the place that has no conflict, getting back in touch with that and realizing that, I'll just say it, everything in this life is insignificant. Nothing matters. It's all irrelevant. Because in 50 years, most of us will be dead. In 1,000, none of us will be here, whether it's our bones or our skin. So it's really kind of humbling to realize that there is really only thing to this life is what we give our love and dedication to. And if it's tangible things, then you're missing out. And if you're worried about the little things that don't matter, then you're depriving yourself of the big picture, which is everything is fine and we're all going to die at the end. So just enjoy while you're here and love the people next to you.
Wow. That made me tear up a little bit. Thank you for that message. And an added thing, Josh, you are very involved with the community and veterans. And what are you doing outreach wise? You do have a 501c3.
Yeah.
Please, talk about that.
So I did speak recently in June at a conference. I'm still looking forward to more engagements like that if anybody's interested. I do run a 501c3 nonprofit, Carma Corps, at CARMACORPS.org. You can check out our website. You can contact me there. And I like to give veterans and families of veterans information about how they also can get off pharmaceuticals like I did, using CBD for those who aren't ready for THC or don't know if they're ready to make that leap. Some of it is kind of intimidating for people. There are tools and resources out there for other ways: mindset, mindfulness, breathing exercises, yoga nidra, sound bowl healing. There's a ton of things you can do to kind of become more aware of what you're thinking about at the moment, what's causing it, whether it's an emotional attachment, learning about your default mode network if you want to Google something after this, to figure out why you're getting hijacked and sabotaged on a daily basis due to these things that have happened to you before that keep you in trauma cycles and, being a victim of your loops of own thought, as we all kind of make ourselves, unfortunately. And so I like to kind of give this information out. I like to work one-on-one with veterans. If you're not a veteran, you can still contact me. I'll absolutely give you my time if you're serious about making changes in your life. Because I'm really here to help people heal. If you heard something today that resonates with you and you think that I can help you on your journey in healing, reach out to me, reach out to Maria, get in touch with me. If you don't already know, if you haven't seen me online, I'll absolutely give anyone my time if I think it will benefit them, as long as you make it valuable for me and put in the dedication and effort to do what you say you will, then I will absolutely work with you.
100%. That's how I feel. If I gotta drag someone,
I'm not going to beat dead horses, but if you're a stallion and you're ready to run, and I'll get in the race with you and I'll neck and neck with you until you're back in it. But I'm not going to lead you and I'm not going to drag you. I'm done with those days.
Yeah, and he is also a great supporter and uplifter. He says really amazing and heartfelt things, and I really value our friendship.
Yeah, I do too as well. On that note, if there's nothing else that I encourage people to do, it's start talking to themselves the way that they do their children and their parents. Because a lot of times what we forget is that we deserve the same love and we deserve the same affirmation and the same edification as everybody else around us. And although it's easy for us to give other people good advice and want them to follow it, a lot of times we're the ones we talk the worst to. And so if there's nothing else you do, please watch the language you use with yourself, because they call the word spelling because you're casting magic. And so you will set stuff in motion in there and you will manifest things you don't want to. If you're not conscious of the letters that you're putting together, you will spell yourself into something you don't need to. So don't say negative things. Don't tell yourself negative things. Say positive things. Remind yourself of the things you'd remind other people of. Talk to yourself better. Love yourself more and manifest what you want. Don't dwell on the stuff you're trying to avoid.
Boom. And that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much. I'm going to put Josh's information in the description. He's a great guy. You can see, easy to talk to, and he's going to give it to you straight. And that's the only way I deal.
I appreciate you having me on today, Maria. If
Oh,
I can
you
help
bet.
you heal, reach out to me in your journey. I will absolutely help you. It's been a pleasure. I hope you have me back on for a session about microdosing specifically.
Oh, we will
More
do
about
that.
psychedelics later.
Okay. Peace until next time, you guys.